All right, good morning. A little FSG drive on our way to work. So, this is a Tesla full self-driving FSD 12.5.6.3. It's the newest version for hardware 4. And yeah, so we're going to work, or I'm going to go stop at my parents' house do some paperwork. But just in general, instead of listening to music, you get to listen to me talk this morning because, well, I get copyright strikes. So, having said that, news of the weekend that we missed, we had the photo op with the president, Elon, Donald Trump Jr., and RFK Jr., and the interesting part about that was the look on RFK Jr.'s face with the McDonald's in front of him. He's like, "You've put straight poison in front of me. What have you done?" So he's got the little bottle of 20 ounces of regular Coke, and he does not look happy. I can imagine why, because someone that's a health nut, McDonald's is not the greatest food, as you know. I mean, heck, if you leave a burger out on your table and the fries, I don't think they ever mold. I mean, you put a good quality burger bun from Macrina Bakery, or really any good, decent bakery. I mean, take it home from the grocery store, it's molding starting at the end of the week. And, by day 9, it's okay. We're going to hit the gas. We kind of hesitated in the roundabout there, as you saw, for no real good reason. It's because the man with the ladder's on top, but we can't just stop. It's a roundabout. Once you're in it, you keep going. Anyway, so we had that photo op. They were on the way to fight night, it looked like, with the UFC. Elon Musk had the courtside with Donald Trump. And then while they were at that, we had some great Tesla news. Tesla's up a little over 5% this morning. So segue into that, Donald Trump wants to accelerate full self-driving and autonomous driving capabilities. Looks like accelerating unsupervised FSD coming up here, as Elon Musk has the goal of doing it sometime in 2025, 2026. I can totally see it. Look at the way it's working right now. So these are little tiny kinks, the car driving a little slow, maybe it either goes with the flow of traffic or faster. Doesn't always leave room open for people to come in, as a courteous driver would sometimes do that. But I can totally see this happening in the next 6 to 8 months. I think you're going to have, at least with hardware 4, maybe first, supervised self-driving start to happen within 6 months to a year on the hardware 4 platform. Depends on if they can solve it for hardware 3. I don't know how well they're going to be able to do that in a given time frame, as it seems to be maxed out as it is, but as Elon says, it can happen. So until they say no. And then geographic wise, so where it's going to start, they're going to start it next to the factory, or Austin probably, and then close to the R&D facilities in California. That'd be San Jose area, Fremont, where there's a factory again and some staff to take care of it. The question is, where can you reasonably have supervised self-drive or unsupervised driving without reasonable help or from humans? Because Waymo and the other self-driving companies, they kind of have shepherds at the beck and call. Either the police call, or people hit the little customer service button and say, "Oh no, we're stuck, come help us." So that is going to be the question as we head towards level 5. Now, our car, as you know, or if anybody has FSD, when it rains, it says degraded. Now, sometimes when it rains, the conditions are right, the cameras are completely toast from drizzly rain, as in they're totally occluded, or there's mist coming from the car next to you. So it's like anything. Sometimes the car was definitely designed in California, where it does not rain very often. So, like, other vehicle manufacturers have put rain mitigation in for like rain dropping into the car. It was a little bit better. I used to have a Tahoe. This is a Yukon, and the window fairings designed a little bit better. When you opened up the car, you wouldn't get dripped on as much. But so, having said that, the reason I'm segueing into that is the car will have issues in adverse or even light weather. So I would say the only places that are going to get unsupervised self-driving are going to be the southern United States to start. If you can get regulatory approval, FSD, you're a little impatient. So FSD was driving through the ramp meter. So this is on an on-ramp to 405. It did not wait for the red light, or at least anticipate that it would turn green and start to move forward. So what I mean by anticipation is I think FSD from muscle memory or internally thinks the light's about to turn green, so it starts moving, setting up for the light turning green, but totally misjudges it by going over the line. Now, it's not a safety critical intervention because there's no one to hit if it's a regular red light, but you could get someone a ticket if there was a cop there. But I think it's one of those where if a cop saw you did that after waiting, they probably wouldn't give you a ticket. They'd just say, okay, I understand, and here's a warning, go about your day. Or they wouldn't bother because you didn't have the intent to break the law, and you were obviously not cutting the carpool. You weren't using the carpool lane to cheat waiting a few minutes. So anyway, that's something that needs to get worked on. There's these little things, and you're basically like 95% of the way there in normal driving conditions. So we got the last few percent to iron out the kinks, and then we're golden. So we had that. So big progress on getting autonomy solved. I think another thing that they need to start looking at is other places that you can adapt FSD to easily, other than the obvious, which is package delivery, food delivery. Now, the biggest problem with there is that last mile of the delivery. So I would say, let's say you have pizza's easy, or other foods, because you could probably get the consumer to come outside to the car to pick up the food out of a door or something that opens that the restaurant or what have you put the food inside, and then the car does the deliveries. But for package delivery, you got to get it to the front door, and the biggest thing to replace is dexterity of hands to overcome things like gates, and you got to get upstairs. People have hoses on the ground to trip. Things normal humans would just get to the front door, leave the package, take a picture, and bounce. And you're going to have a robot that's going to do that. Little crawling Amazon things are gone. Those are those little bucket-looking things with 4 or 6 wheels you saw testing with a little flag and the little Amazon eyeballs. It looks like a little robot vacuum cleaner. Well, I don't see them testing those anymore. I don't know how well those things actually worked. They were testing them here in Kirkland, Washington, my hometown, near a church that is shipping container load them. They'd load them up with packages, send them to people's doors, and they were getting stuck everywhere. And they'd have a team of shepherds trying to get them unstuck. We didn't have the vandalism problem that other states did with the little robots. I know there's videos online. They unloaded them in a big city. We're in the suburbs here. I don't think really people did anything to them on purpose, other than they probably hit them on accident if they didn't see him driving, but it was unintentional. So last mile delivery is going to be our biggest problem with conquering package delivery. They wanted to say Optimus, you can get it for, I think Elon was saying 30 or 60,000. This whole car is $45,000. So that robot with the intricate parts in the hands, you got a huge bill of materials, and with the eyes and the sensors, I don't see this coming in under 100K or $250,000 for some time now. when you're paying a UPS driver and their package is 150 plus K, yes, over a few years it's a no-brainer. So UPS will pay $250,000, but that's if it costs Tesla $250,000 to make, which means they got to retail this thing for like $350 to make money. Yeah, because you're gonna have a lot of repairs, things like that coming in the first few years. There's a lot of kinks to work out. So that's one aspect. We assume, like everything else, that they're building this robots for Texas. They don't salt the roads, so there's no salt air, there's no mist. If you put this in a coastal town, well, what's the salt going to do to this robot? That's another thing. So now you got a certain degree of waterproofing, rainproofing, and corrosion proofing your robot, which is going to increase the cost drastically. I mean, so there's a lot of things to work on there. The one thing Tesla can probably work on is easy to automate, and a customer that will pay a lot of money is going after or building a robot that waste management or other refuse collection operators will purchase. And that's where I see the biggest future. What can be automated first is refuse collection, basically garnering. If you watch the garbage collectors working, they're probably hitting, over the course of an hour, they're probably hitting 120 bins an hour. So over an 8-hour work day, they're probably hitting, I don't know, 850. But that's assuming that they're going to go down a residential street, then they have to set back up, make U-turns, maybe 750 bins a day in an 8-hour stretch. I'm not an expert on refuse collection, so at some point they got to go to a garbage dump maybe every 4 hours, and that takes I don't know every how often that the actual bin in the back will fill up. I don't think they can go 8 hours, or the truck would have to be too big. So automating that process might be one of the key factors to autonomy, because you can sell the garbage truck and an FSD, or automated refuse collection license, to Waste Management, collect like $100,000 a year in licensing fees, make the garbage truck autonomous, all electric. Currently they're running most of them on natural gas, and they gotta have the infrastructure to refuel that thing. And depending on how you set up your refuse collection operation, okay, so segueing into FSD, we need to turn right here, but we wait to almost the last second, like over 50% of the time. I'm going to disengage here and get into the right lane. FSD was in the outermost left turn lane. We needed to turn right, and there was probably no way it was going to make my right turn efficiently, and then I would end up turning left, so I intervened and safely got in before the pickup truck behind me took the space, and FSD would stop. No, it's not listening to me anyway. Anyway, garbage trucks. So that, I think, will be they're going to focus on things like garbage trucks after they get the robo-taxi down. So you're going to get an unsupervised trial of little robo-taxi zones. Next will be refuse collection. That's easy. An easy industry to begin to automate. There's lots of refuse collection trucks out there. We're already building a semi-truck. You do have to adapt the semi-truck, because now you need a long wheelbase, a heavy-duty frame vehicle, but it's totally doable to do that. And then you need to figure out the battery infrastructure. It's the perfect vehicle to automate, because they mainly operate on city streets. They do a lot of starting and stopping, so the regenerative braking, perfect for extending that battery life. And it's a monotonous task, so it's very, very repetitive for a garbage collector, just binning 750 bins a day, with a joystick, and you have to figure out how are we going to grab the bin, and then if people stick them too close together, the garbage man or garbage person gets out of the garbage truck and reorients the bin, or doesn't grab it, or falls over. Or do you have a shepherd for the garbage trucks? So let's say you got 5 garbage trucks, and now you got a 5-to-1 ratio. You got a little rescue guy or fireman basically to go grab the little edge cases where the truck didn't pick up the trash, had an error, got stuck. But someone like Waste Management or another big operator will have the resources, the management structure to help us along. Maybe have a pilot person at the refuse site until you can automate the backing up and dumping the garbage into the either transfer station style facilities. So that's where there is already a big semi-trailer that the dump trucks or the garbage trucks back up to and offload, or the landfill model where it's just a big open building and they unload, and then the loaders there take it straight to the landfill. So that would be like a city dump model. There are multiple models and multiple ways to do this, but the future is very bright. I think there's a lot of labor will be unlocked to begin doing other things in our economy, as opposed to picking up trash, driving people around with Uber. They can go into home health care, home repair. There's going to be a huge industry in electronics repair because the robots aren't repairing themselves for quite some time. So that's my thoughts. I'm at my destination.